Okay, we are in our notes finishing up lesson 4.4. The objective is to determine the y-intercept of an equation and a scenario. So we're going to finish up talking about, well, how do you find y-intercept and how do you represent it from a scenario. Your homework tonight will be to convert either slope-intercept to standard form or standard form to slope-intercept form or a scenario to each of those equations. You need to make sure that you can list and label the y-intercept as an ordered pair with variables, just like we did with the slope. So that's the plan for today. We left off with, I'm going to actually start with number 1, even though we already talked about it. Oh, did I skip it? Yep. Sorry, guys. I don't know why I skipped it. Okay. Number 1, let me just go back to number 1 real quick. So number 1, we talked about Michael has run 3 miles this week, and he runs 2 miles every day. So we determined that the y-intercept was 3 miles because that's the starting point. We then took the y-intercept, which is the starting point, and we rewrote it as 0, 3, and then putting our labels in, x is days, y is miles, so 0 days for 3 miles. So we end up writing it in like that as an ordered pair with labels. You want to make sure that you're always doing that. So number 2, which we started, and then class, we ran out of time. We decided since Shane owes Marissa $10 and pays her 50 cents per week, we looked at this from Marissa's perspective. Someone owes Marissa, right, Marissa, we're pretending, $10. So she is short $10 because she let someone borrow that somewhere along the lines. Now, we need to put our labels in here. So, what are our labels for the 0 and what is our label for the negative 10? In other words, what's x, what's y? Brian C? Good job. So 0 week, comma, negative $10. At week 0, Marissa is short $10 based on this problem. Okay? All right. Actually, let's do the next one together too. Okay, number 3. Judy starts running today and is going to run 0.75 miles every day. Okay, let's first start here. What is the b value? In other words, what is the y-intercept? Maddie, y. Good. Awesome. Y-intercept is 0 here because she just starts running today. So your y-intercept is 0. That is her starting point. She never ran before. Okay? Let's now take that and write that as an ordered pair with labels. We'll skip the normal ordered pair part here. So who can tell us with labels 0 what, comma, 0 what? Andy. Good. At day 0, she has run 0 miles. Questions on that or any of those? Okay, let's go to the examples using algebra, which do not involve scenarios. Ignore that, that was from yesterday. Okay, so part 2 of this says determining the y-intercept from an equation. The first thing that you have to do, it says when you want to determine the y-intercept, you need to, and I need you guys and girls to write this down, set x equal to 0. Now there's 2 ways to do this. I'm going to teach this to you 2 ways. Here's one way, and we did this last year. To determine a y-intercept, you need to set x equal to 0. When you write it as an ordered pair, it's still always 0, comma something. Okay? Brian C. Yes. So let me do it the way the notes say first, and then we'll talk about Brian C's way, which I agree, it's much easier. And common sense, right? So let's plug 0 in for x. We have y equals 2 times 0 minus 5. You should all remember from proofs, combined like term step would be, okay, 2 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 5 is negative 5. So the y, which is your y-intercept, is negative 5. We need to write that as an ordered pair. We plugged 0 in for x, so x is 0. The y-intercept is negative 5. Okay, now, I don't know if you heard Brian C., but if you didn't hear him, what else could we do? Well, good. So now since you had the advantage of learning this last year and you remember it so well, all you really need to do is look at this, right? That's your y-intercept. Why would you go through this trouble for no reason? So I wanted to show you, you have both options. You can plug 0 in for x, find what the y-intercept is, or, Kevin, you're listening, right? Or just look at the b value, that's your y-intercept. Remember, it's always x comma y. All right, let's fly through the next three. Brian V, number 2, what is the y-intercept? Good, 0, 7. The b value is 7. When we eventually graph these, that's your beginning or starting point. Okay? Gigi, what's the y-intercept for number 3? Good job. 0, negative 18. Thank you. The y-intercept is negative 18. That's the b value. And Brianna, what's the y-intercept as a decimal for number 4? Close. If you have $5 and I take half of it, how much are you left with? More than that. 2. There you go. 2.5. 0, that's okay. Caught you off guard there. 0, negative 2.5. Now you can write it as negative 5 over 2. Doesn't have to be as a decimal. But when we get to graphing, it's much easier if you know where to start based on the decimal point. Okay. All right, so that's finding y-intercept if they're in slope-intercept form. Questions on those? Okay, let's flip over to number 5. Now, I'm going to give you 2 options here, and I do not care which way you do this. Ms. Wingrove and I use both ways depending on how the problem is set up, so it's up to you how you want to do this. We need to find the y-intercept. What is one thing we could do? There's 2 things. Brianna, what's one thing? Good. One method is plug 0 in for x to find the y-intercept. What's the other method we could use? Gigi. Good job. Put it into y equals form. I do not mind which way you choose. Okay? I am going to put 0 in for x just because mentally I can do that faster than rearranging for y. You can pick whichever way you want. Is everyone clear on the 2 methods we just talked about? Raise your hand if you prefer plugging 0 in for x. I'm just curious. You don't have to agree with me. Yep. Okay, raise your hand for this type of problem if you prefer putting it into y equals. A couple of you. Okay, and that's fine. If you want to put in y equals, I want you to do it that way now and make sure you get the same answer as the rest of us by putting 0 in for x. Okay, you know from last year and this year, sometimes there's lessons where I'll give you 2 strategies, you can pick. Okay, I'm going to plug 0 in. Everyone else that likes the other way, go for it. If we plug 0 in for x to find our y-intercept, we have 3 times 0 minus 4y equals 12. 3 times 0 is just 0, so we are left with negative 4y equals 12. And then Lucy. Oh, thank you, Luke. I forgot about that. Sorry, don't forget the negative on the 12. Negative 4y equals negative 12. Eric, when we solve for y, what do we get? Okay, 3. So then write your answer as an ordered pair always. If there's a scenario, you need to make sure that you're having labels with it. Okay, those of you that put this into y equals form, you should get y equals 3/4 x plus 3. Those of you that did it that way, does anyone need me to go over it that way? Brian C? No. Let me do it real quick. Sure? Does anyone need me to do it the other way? Madison, did you do it the other way? You okay? Andy, you did it the other way too. You okay? All right, let's go to number 6. Okay, number 6, we have negative 4x minus 7y equals 23. Since most of you do it the way where you plug 0 in for x, I'm going to keep doing it that way. Again, if you like the other method, go ahead and use that. Negative 4 times 0 is 0. So we have negative 7y equals 23. And then we need to divide both sides by 7. So Brian V, did you do it this way? Can you tell us what the decimal is, please? Good. Good. Negative 3.3 or negative 3.29, depending on how you round. It does not matter to me. I, again, would try to get in the habit of keeping your y-intercept as a decimal. If you left it as an improper fraction, it's negative 23 over 7. Eric. Oh, no. No. Not at all. I just want to make sure when you're graphing that you remember you have to start at that exact point, which in this case would be negative 3.3. It just makes it more difficult if you leave it as an improper, but no, you're fine. Anyone else? Questions or comments on that? Okay, number 7, let's take a look at that one. That one is technically in standard form, but what's wrong with it? B. Yeah, so Kevin, what can we do to get rid of the fraction? Good. We need to multiply everything by 3. We need to get rid of the fraction. So remember, I saw this mistake from a couple of you from the other day. You need to make sure you distribute the 3 to every single term. So this changes to 12x minus 2y equals 21. From there, I would take your 0, plug it in for x, solve for y, your y-intercept. If you do it the other way, I would still put it in correct standard form and then convert it to slope-intercept form. Brian, see. You can, but the problem with that is that 0.6 is repeating, and it's hard to type that into your calculator. You know what I mean? So that it's still exact. Your answer will be close, just not exact as ours. You know what I mean? Okay. So next thing, let's put 0 in for x. We have 12 times 0 minus 2y equals 21. 12 times 0 is 0. So we are left with negative 2y equals 21. Kevin, as an ordered pair, what is our y-intercept? Good. 0, comma, negative 10.5. Questions on that one? Okay, I want you to try number 8. Please put it in correct standard form first, and then find the y-intercept. Notice, be careful, the denominators are different here. So you need to think about what a common denominator is before you multiply through. Okay? Do you know what I mean by that? Brian, did you get it already? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, then you're good then. As long as you do that. As long as you type in 7 of the numbers, you're fine. You guys are fast. Good. Try that again. Close. Again, you can either put it into y equals form or put a 0 in for x, but please, either way, make sure you put it into the correct standard form. Okay, Alina, what did we have to multiply this whole equation by so that it's in correct standard form? If you multiply by 5, are you going to get rid of that first fraction? This one's tough. So 5 times negative half is negative 5 over 2, or negative 2.5. So you still have a problem because we still have a decimal. Remember I said you need to find the common denominator between 2 and 5? So do you want to tell us what the common denominator is between 2 and 5, which is your least common multiple? Yep. So if you multiply everything by 10, Will, can you tell us what do we end up with after we distribute 10 to everything? Good job. So here's your result after you distribute 10 to every single term. Does anyone need me to explain how any of those numbers got there from distributing 10? Brian? You can. Yes, you can. I'm just trying to be consistent. Anytime we see standard form, I want to remind you that A and B cannot be decimals or fractions. A cannot be negative. Now, obviously, I still have the A negative here, so don't worry about that at this point. But if you had to leave it in this form, get rid of it. And yeah, that's fine. If you guys like that strategy of putting your 0 in for x, multiply by 5, divide by 2, go for it. Yeah, good point. Did anyone else do it that way? That's fine. You guys are smart enough to realize that there's a lot of other ways to do this. You're fine. That's fine. Okay. All right, conclusion. So we have a conclusion here. Then I need to ask you a couple questions. Okay, the y-intercept is always, which you all already told me, the b value in the equation. Y equals mx plus b. So the y-intercept is always the b value, you're just filling in the blanks, in the equation, bless you, y equals mx plus b. You can also say it's not the number next to the x variable. It's not the number next to the x variable. Okay, when you're done with that, I am going to verbally give you a scenario, and I want you to write down at the bottom of that paper what you think the y-intercept is. Okay? All right, here it is. We currently have 5 inches of snow on the ground. It snows 2 inches every 3 days. We currently have 5 inches of snow on the ground. It snows 2 inches every 3 days. What is the y-intercept? I want you to write that down on your paper. So as an ordered pair with labels, what is the y-intercept? Okay, Eric, what do you think? Good job. 0 days, 5 inches. Or you could say 5 inches of snow, which means at day 0, or currently, today, we have 5 inches of snow on the ground. Raise your hand if you got that right. Just checking. Okay. I'm going to have, can someone come up with a scenario? I'll give you a minute to think about it. I need someone to come up with a scenario, and then someone's going to answer it for us. So I want you to come up with a similar scenario, and then we'll have someone answer with labels what the y-intercept is. Okay, school appropriate. Okay, you have one in your head? You can use whatever you want. You can be creative. So I'll give you a little bit to think. Think of a scenario, or write it down if you need to. And in about 30 seconds, if someone wants to, you don't have to, we'll have them share it. And then everyone's going to write down what they think the y-intercept is. No. School appropriate. Keep it PG. Actually, keep it G. Is that better? No. Not in my G movies. Okay. Let's give everyone some time to think. Okay. Okay, Luke B. Is this G rated? School appropriate. No, Luke B. No. School appropriate. Let's keep it G. I mean that. Okay, does anyone have an appropriate scenario? No? Will, do you have one? Shh. Okay. Okay. So say that a little louder. Shh, listen. Okay. Okay, I want everyone to write down what you think the y-intercept is based on Will's scenario. Okay, Gigi, you want to tell us? 0 what? Okay, can you give us the labels? Yep. Good job. I'm just going to abbreviate smartboard. So 0 on day 0, the school currently has 30 smartboards, right? What would be the slope for that scenario with labels? Luke B? Yep. Okay, what does that 6 have to be, Luke? Good, because technically the smartboards are going away, right? Luke's breaking them, so we're losing 6 every 1 day. Your classes are going to be really boring if you have to go back to the board, right? Or to an overhead. Questions on that? Okay, before I explain your assignment, what you're going to work on right now, any questions for me on labeling slope or labeling y-intercept or converting from standard to slope-intercept form? Brian C. let me get you started first. The last 4 minutes of class, remind me. Okay, I want you to put your name on this. Hopefully I spelled everything correctly up there. In my boring scenarios. I don't know. Okay, they fired them.
That is not school appropriate. They got shot.
No!
No, that's not school appropriate. They could have gone.
All right. Okay, Kevin and Brian C. Enough. Okay, put your name on this, please. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. Okay, before you start anything, let me explain what's in front of you. So you need to put your name and put the date on it. There's a line that says number next to that, which obviously means put the number of the problem. This is a template to make it easier for you to do your homework, which I wish I had made for you yesterday. Okay, number one, here's what you're going to do first. You're going to write down this scenario. So you're going to write down my exciting, Joe has 11 apples and finds 6 more apples every hour. You're going to write that where it says scenario, not right now, but in a little bit. You're going to fill in the rest of the chart based on that scenario. Number two, in the box that says standard form, and don't do the problems yet. Number two, the box that says standard form, you are going to write that down in standard form. Number three, same thing, but you're going to write that down where it says slope-intercept form. And then number four, same thing, but put it where it says scenario. 5, even though it's not correct, put it where it says standard form. I would fix it then, because I did that on purpose, so you could practice fractions. Number 6, same thing, put it where it says standard form. I am probably going to collect and grade these. First of all, because it's just easier for me to see and make sure you guys know what you're doing. And secondly, we've done this a lot. Now it's just putting everything together. The only thing that's really new here is y-intercept. So the first thing you should be doing is writing down all the problems. Luke B, you can try. Okay? Writing down all the problems. And then I want you to start. We have about 12 minutes. I'm going to walk around just to make sure that you're all on the right page. Remember your rules for standard form. Remember how you need to come up with scenarios. Please make sure your scenarios are appropriate. Okay? You do not want to get in trouble for writing about something you shouldn't be writing about. I don't care if your scenarios are boring. Make sure they are appropriate. You all know what I mean by that. Okay? Any questions for me, Eric? Leave them blank. We're going to do that tomorrow. Luke B. Luke B. Luke B. Don't even ask me that. You know that. Don't even try to get to the border. Anyone else? Jared, did you have a question before? Okay. All right, go ahead and get started. What you don't finish